Welcome to the One Era orientation. Today, we will be reviewing the general expectations while on Era property. Every day, everybody goes home alive and well. Injuries, accidents, and spills are preventable. Safe conduct of operations is a condition of employment at Era. Every person has the authority and responsibility to stop all unsafe acts or conditions. Anytime you are unsure of how to conduct your work activity safely, stop and consult with your supervisor. If an incident does occur, contact Era immediately. This includes injuries, illnesses, near misses, motor vehicle accidents, property damage, fires, explosions, environmental releases, and spills. Cite emergency numbers. Calling the above emergency numbers will either initiate the emergency response team or connect you to local emergency personnel. These numbers will be provided to you at the conclusion of this orientation. Utilize the after-hours notification number on weekends, holidays, and outside of normal business hours. Note that such work must have prior Era approval. Contraband policy. The following are considered contraband and shall not be used or possessed on Era property: illegal drugs, drug paraphernalia, alcohol, legal drugs used illicitly, firearms, live ammunition, explosives, weapons or knives prohibited by California law. Personal protective equipment, or PPE, is required when working at any Era field location. The minimum requirements are hard hat, safety glasses, personal H2S monitor worn in the breathing zone except in Ventura, 2112 compliant flame-resistant clothing or 70E for electricians, gloves specific to the task being performed, and safety-toed footwear. Additional PPE may be needed, depending on the type and location of work. This could include high-visibility vests, hearing, fall, chemical, or respiratory protection. Social media. All work at Era is confidential. Inappropriate use of social media can pose risk to your company's and/or Era's reputation and confidential information. Photography, video, and recordings of any kind or publication, sharing or posting on social media about Era operations requires prior approval from Era Public Affairs. Vehicle operation and driving safety. Ensure all occupants are wearing a seatbelt. Never use your cell phone while driving, including hands-free devices. If you need to use your cell phone for any reason, the vehicle must be parked safely, well off a roadway. Position your vehicle first move forward, meaning that when you need to leave location, your first move would be in a forward direction. Do not park underneath power lines. Secure unattended vehicles by putting the vehicle in park, setting the parking brake, removing the keys from ignition, and applying wheel chocks if required. All suppliers and subcontractors must have vehicles and equipment clearly identified with company name. In Belridge, while driving near light oil wells, maintain a 10-foot distance from unprotected wellheads. Do not pass on Highway 33 where oil-filled roads intersect with the highway. Use headlights while traveling Highway 33 to make sure other drivers see you. Pull off of the highway onto side roads or parking lots instead of parking on highway shoulders. Slow-moving vehicles or equipment should not use Highway 33 to travel. Use interior roads when possible. Report unsafe driving activities to Era emergency numbers. Restricted Access Program. Access requirements may include check-in and out at access points and/or orientation on process hazards and emergency procedures. Restricted areas include diatomite thermal recovery, also known as DTR, cogens, dehighs, recycle facility, steam generators, compressor stations, blend stations, and gas, water, and sulfur ox plants. High-risk oil-filled exposures. Additional attention is required for the following: H2S, benzene, ammonia, hydrochloric acid, lead and asbestos, flammable liquids and gases, high-pressure steam and surface expressions. When these or other hazards are present on worksite, additional controls are necessary. Meet and greet. When visiting job sites, visitors must report to designated meet and greet area. Visitor will wait until a natural break in work occurs or until a crew member is available. Crew members will explain tasks, hazards, and mitigations that will affect visitors and allow access if needed. All jobs require a cone or sign at worksite perimeter to establish visitor entry point. It must be visible from at least 30 feet away. Visitors must wait until the natural break in work or until a crew member can break away. Do not demand that the crew stops work unless you observe an unsafe act or condition. During the meet and greet, a crew member will explain tasks, hazards, and mitigations that will affect the visitor. After this review, the visitor may be granted worksite access by the PIC. Protect the environment. ERA expects job sites and work activities to be in compliance with all environmental regulations. Workers must adhere to the following basic expectations. If unsure about these requirements, stop work and consult ERA environmental professional. Do not enter or disturb streams, creeks, or dry waterways. Permits may be required. Do not disturb wildlife or plants. Many are protected by government regulations. Do not dump any fluids in well cellars, pits, or sumps unless specifically allowed by ERA operations or environmental. Dispose of all trash and wastes in approved containers as documented on the control of work plan. Only use solvents and paints approved by local air district. SDS and approval required for use of any chemical. Use permit-required portable equipment with registration from local air district or CARB. Conduct demolition and abandonment projects only after review with ERA's environmental, Title V, and health and safety. Greenhouse gas. ERA and its suppliers are required to collect data from portable, non-self-propelled combustion equipment used at all ERA locations. All portable combustion equipment on ERA property must be accompanied by an up-to-date daily log sheet. Kern County Oil and Gas Ordinance requires that all workers receive training. County permits known as job cards are required for drilling, hydraulic fracturing, some rig rework, and some construction jobs. The approved site plan and job card must be kept at these job sites. A condition of receiving a permit is that all workers on permitted sites receive Worker Environmental Awareness Program training, also known as WEAP training. Your signature will confirm awareness of this material. The next few slides cover WEAP training. Site plan. Permitted jobs must have a site plan showing the boundaries of the work area. This site plan shall be available on site for permitted well work. Permitted jobs must have a site plan showing the boundaries of the work area. This site plan shall be available on site for permitted well work. Plant and wildlife protection. Before working on permitted locations, a qualified biologist will assess the project area with a pre-disturbance survey. Work cannot start until this survey is complete, and the results shall be posted on site. Avoidance fencing will be installed by the qualified biologist if needed to isolate identified threatened or endangered species. Any area marked by fencing or posted with environmentally sensitive area signage shall not be approached either in vehicle or on foot without supervisor authorization. Plant and wildlife protection. Do not take, including harass, harm, wound, kill, trap, or collect animals listed as threatened or endangered. Disturbance of sensitive plant or wildlife shall be avoided except where brush removal is mapped on permitted site plans. All piping greater than or equal to 1.5 inches must be capped or stored on pipe racks. After overnight storage, inspect pipe for wildlife. The following are protected species in Kern County: San Joaquin kit fox, burrowing owl, blunt-nosed leopard lizard, American badger, giant kangaroo rat, antelope squirrel, California condor, golden eagle, maternity bat roosts, active bird nests, and special status plants. For a list of protected species at each site, contact the local environmental professional. Note: do not touch, harass, or attempt to capture any animal at any time. Historic item preservation. Utilize your stop work if any prehistoric or Native American fossils, human remains, or bones that may be human are found on the work site. Contact supervision immediately. Unauthorized collection or disturbance of these items is unlawful. Managing job site waste. Microtrash, such as broken glass, bottle caps, can tabs, cigarette butts, and caution tape scraps, can harm condors and other endangered species. Dispose of microtrash and food-related trash in animal-proof containers and remove daily from the site. Weep training. Valley fever. The valley fever spore is endemic to Kern County. Symptoms are often mild and typically not displayed for 1 to 3 weeks after exposure. The symptoms include fever, cough, chills, fatigue, joint aches, and/or red spotty rash. If you or a coworker are experiencing symptoms, report to your supervisor immediately. Dust masks are available for those who choose to wear one. Waste management. Dispose or recycle all waste by following approved methods. Do not dump waste in well cellars, pits, or sumps. The Control of Work Plan has a dedicated section to document waste handling procedures. Hazardous material. All chemicals, bins, and drums require proper labels and placards. Company approval is required for handling and disposal of hazardous material where the action level may be exceeded. For example, asbestos, lead, formaldehyde, benzene, corrosives, caustic, acid, ammonia, acrolein, or hexavalent chromium. Report any release of any hazardous material to supervisor immediately. Fire prevention and fire safety. Smoking is permitted in designated areas only. No smoking within 35 feet of vegetation, process equipment, or wells. All hot work must be permitted, including grinding, welding, or torch use, within 35 feet of a wellhead or process facility, or where vegetation poses a wildland fire hazard. Firefighting equipment such as fire extinguishers and shovels must be readily available to extinguish incipient stage fires. The unpaved road speed limit is 20 miles per hour, unless posted otherwise. Posted speed limits may be 10, 15, or 20 miles per hour, depending on endangered species or farmland dust control. Bureau of Land Management leases, also known as BLM, require additional orientation. Midway Sunset BLM leases include Brunswick-Logan, Gore A, Gore B, Gore C, Kendon, Maxwell, Metzen, USL National, USL Republican Section 7, Western, and Vetter. Belridge BLM leases include South Government and Section 18. Belridge internal operating permit facilities require an additional orientation. These facilities include Gas Plant 32, ammonia storage at Cogen 13 and 32, acid systems at Belridge Water Softening Plant, Lost Hills 2 and Water Plant 2, D-High 20, DTR, gas gathering and fuel distribution includes compressor stations, Sulfurox at 3-2 and 2-3, and Tulare CVR systems. Sighting of portable mobile equipment and lifting of suspended loads shall be no closer than 10 feet of active unprotected high-pressure gas lines, unless permitted by an approved variance. Midway Sunset has additional internal operating permits. The waste gas system includes the casing vapor recovery system, casing vapor recovery compressor stations, waste gas injection wells, and the Lockwood tank vapor recovery line. The primary hazard is high concentration of H2S. The fuel gas system pipelines are high pressure and one segment for both north and south. It has 700 psi normal operating pressure in ANSI 600 class pipe. It could have pressures up to 900 psi. Sighting of portable or mobile equipment and/or lifting of suspended loads shall be no closer than 10 feet of active, unprotected sections of pressurized gas distribution piping. Suppliers performing work on system are required to be DOT certified or work under the direction of DOT certified personnel. South Midway Sunset's MOCO internal operating permits require additional orientation. MOCO acid system orientation will be administered by the plant operator, and the MOCO sulfurox orientation will be administered by either the plant operator or field health and safety. Signing in when you arrive and signing out when you leave is required. Coalinga lease-specific hazards include casing vapor recovery or CVR system requirements. On CMS, Aztec, Section 7, and Penzier, the wells shall not be started without first confirming that the casing valve is opened to the CVR system. If not followed, Air will have to file a deviation, and this will result in a fine from San Joaquin Air Pollution Control District. Electrical panel labeling contains special instructions. Coalinga-specific hazards continued. The following locations have fixed H2S directors: CVR, or casing vapor recovery; TVR, or tank vapor recovery; low caustic scrubber and water plant 32 brine pit. A red beacon will activate when H2S is present. If the red light is on, stay out and contact operations prior to entry. Coalinga-specific hazards. Open casing wells in sections 10, 14, 15, 26, 27, and 34. During pre-screening procedures, quad monitors may alarm near the open casing valve. Plan work upwind or contact East Primary Operator for assistance. San Nardo specific hazards. San Nardo is a steam flood operations. Fluid, equipment, and pipe temperatures in the process can be as high as 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Contact with hot fluids and surfaces can cause severe burns. All fluids, piping, and equipment should be treated as extremely hot unless proven otherwise. FR rain gear, rubber boots, rubber gloves, and face shields are required when operating hot fluid hoses greater than 140 degrees Fahrenheit, or when there is a danger of being contacted by hot fluids. San Nardo specific hazards continued. The following requires EHS review and PWP acceptance. Handling and transporting condensate by vacuum truck. Heavy equipment operations within 15 feet of the Hamby line. The Hamby line is an uninsulated 16-inch high-pressure, high-temp wastewater line. Ventura-specific hazards. Only one vehicle at a time may pass through the security gate. Tailgating will cause damage. Roads can be steep and narrow. Jim Graves Road is limited to only light-duty cars and vehicles. Maximum lease speed is 25 miles per hour. If the road creates dust, maximum speed is 15 miles per hour. Ventura-specific hazards continued. High-pressure gas and water lines with anywhere from 400 to 6,000 psi are positioned throughout the field and buried near work areas in many cases. Ticks are present in wooded and brushy areas, so plan your work accordingly. Ventura-specific hazards. Poison oak is a three-leaf plant that can grow up to 8 feet tall. It is common along roads, on hillsides, and near wells. Its oil can be absorbed by skin, resulting in a rash. If exposed, use post-exposure treatment and notify health and safety. Ventura-specific hazards continued. During red flag warning days, the following wildland fire control measures must be implemented. Increase perimeter distance requiring hot work permit from 35 feet to 70 feet. Increase water buffalo application area from 35 feet to 70 feet from hot work activity. Increase frequency of water buffalo usage such that vegetation within permitted areas remain wet at all times. Implement effective spark control measures such as curtain deflectors. Require fire watch to remain on site for 1 hour after completion of hot work. In conclusion, this is meant to be an orientation for general air hazards and requirements. If you need additional information, contact your AERA representative, health and safety, or environmental.